Hi, everybody. So it's our great pleasure to kickstart this first afternoon. And if you're here today, I guess you know about Hello Tomorrow. So we've been around for around 14 years now, really trying to get those scientific innovation out of the lab up to the market. We've been doing that by building an ecosystem, and it's a worldwide one. What you might not know yet is that we're actually also working directly with corporations. And what we're doing with those corporations is helping them to understand emerging technologies that are going to come and disrupt completely their landscape so that they can anticipate and find the right partners, those startups that have the technology to really push the new innovation, to go for sustainability, for more personalization, in all of the new things that you can actually see in the exhibition space. And then we're helping to set up those projects and accelerate them. And I'm telling you that because it's through our collaborations with industrials and with startups that we've foreseen already the beginning of the usage of AI. And that's what we want to discuss today. There's really, in what we're seeing, a potential for not only applying AI, but actually crossing AI with deep tech. Deep tech is already quite powerful in itself. But if you're bringing AI to accelerate the potential and the disruption that deep technologies are already bringing, then we really think that's how the industrial revolution of the next few years will be coming up together.
Okay, thanks a lot, Alizée, for the introduction. It's a great pleasure to be here today to discuss this fascinating topic that we're going to define probably the future of industry companies. So the topic is how AI combined with deep tech can drive the changes in R&D, manufacturing, supply chain, and operations. Over the past few years, we have heard a lot about AI, and many companies, they believe that they are already using it, which is not false. And because a recent report I have read, they estimate that 72% of corporates, they are actually integrated AI within their business functions. But the thing is that if we look closer, on this statistic chart, as you can see here, a lot of leading companies, they are using AI more centralized around client-facing and support applications today, like IT, HR, or customer-facing. So both basically using AI chatbots for customer service or IT support, ticket solving, or using AI-empowered platform for their employee educations, or using AI to deal with some legal contract document reviews. So that remains at the surface. And if we look at the average of the corporates, okay, go back. Just the average of the corporates. So first, they also use it for the product development usage, but it's the same as I mentioned before. It remains at the surface because basically for the R&D engineers, they are leveraging AI to do some document research, data collection, analysis, or document text generating reviews. We didn't unlock the real potential of AI. And that's the thing we want to discuss today, how we can unlock this potential and combine it with deep tech. Because we want to go more on the upstream activities at manufacturing supply chain. We see very few limited applications today by AI adoption within the corporates. And that's that part of activities actually is the backbone, the core of an industrial machine. As you can see on these statistics, the total cost of R&D and manufacturing costs ranges from 18% to 35%, which is double the cost of marketing, sales, and HCAT costs for industrial companies. So that's the shift moment. According to BCG, a recent report, they said by 2030, 25% of the industrial tasks will be automated, but only 5 to 10 of jobs will be fully replaced. So what does it mean? It means that we are not just talking about automation, but we are talking about fundamental structural changes for the transformation of industrial companies. And we're going to, we believe there is a strong potential combined by the fusion of AI and deep tech. At the intersection, we can create great ideas, and that's the topic we are going to explore today with Alizée. So back to you, Alizée, if you can continue. Thanks.
So indeed, as I was speaking earlier, we really believe this backbone of collaboration between AI and existing emerging technologies will help to enhance the way we are replying to some of the challenges that are at the core of the value chain of the industry. So if you're looking from R&D to maintenance, we have still many issues to address. We have a very long time for discovery, whether it's drugs, molecules, active principles. A lot of the materials we're manufacturing and designing have low recyclability. It's harder and harder to predict the availability of raw materials with climate change. The cost of energy has also become a bit of an issue, as well as the cost of raw materials. And then infrastructures, because of their initial capex, now represent a challenge when it comes to updating them. So all of the challenges are addressed already by some of the deep technologies. What we truly believe is that if we couple them with AI, we could really have additional benefits.
Yes, so we see that there are challenges, a lot of challenges at different phases along the value chain of industrial companies. And we strongly believe that the AI with deep tech is set to revolutionize the way we approach those activities. Think about AI is like the brain. It can process a big amount of data set, and it can generate insights, and it can also make decisions. And then the deep tech is like the body of a human. It provides physical innovations with groundbreaking technologies, and with both of them, we can combine we can get the real benefits from it. And the three main benefits we have listed here. First one is cutting down the timeline. So with AI and deep tech, accelerate the operational process times, reduce the time to market. That's absolutely something we see today, and we can see more and more in the future. Mastering the complexity with AI combined with edge computing, digital twins, it can modelize the most complex world of supply chain, of manufacturing sites, and can provide us real-time simulation of these activities and to enhance the productivity. And the third one, but not the least, is moving from reactive problem solving in the past to a predictive and proactive ways of strategies. So that's the benefits we want to mention. And at the next steps, we're going to break down those benefits into different phases of the value chain. Back to you, Alizée.
Indeed, and we're not trying to be exhaustive here. We're more trying to give you an idea, a glimpse of what it could do when you're seeing how fast AI is evolving and how fast it's evolving to new industries, new application areas. We're not pretending this will be still valid in 6 months. So the first step we wanted to quickly explore, and actually a lot of those use cases are coming from some of the startups you might be able to meet there, but some of also the use case we're seeing first corporates implementing. In R&D, definitely the most beneficial side is winning time. We know that's one of the lengthiest part of the value chain. So if a lot of you have done research, I'm sure some of you doing your PhD, you've had to run back to the lab during the weekend, right? Because those algae, they're not feeding themselves. With the automation of labs and by driving the experimentation using sensors and AI, we might be able to avoid that. So the idea being that we are leveraging the computational power of AI to monitor the condition and to follow up to adjust the conditions so that they remain as planned and don't require a human interaction during off times. Obviously, here, everything that we're describing is more to facilitate and gain time. We're not discussing replacing completely researchers because they will be able to actually focus on more interesting tasks. I think one of the most already known application of AI is drug discovery in pharma. A lot of you must have already heard about it. Today, we're actually able to apply this same principle of discovering new, not active ingredients or drugs, but materials using computational power of AI and modelizing those in silico. It's the same principle, but with a physical structure. But going forward, I think one of the things that we want to know is not only how is one compound proving to be bringing the benefits I'm looking for, because then when you're going to put it in a formula, in a body, it will be interacting with its environment, right? So everything that's related now to food ingredients rheology is where it gets interesting. You're not only designing a new ingredient, you're designing an ingredient taking into account the environment it will be working on. So benefits first, but also interaction. Will it be lowered in terms of performance because it will be in a formula with others? Will it be lowered in terms of performance because the environment in which I'm going to eat it is going to transform those properties? So really accelerating by not only accelerating the design of the structures, but also already anticipating the next steps of the experimentations, which is the environment consequences. The second part is more around complexity, as Yeye has described. Today, a lot of the AI models are a bit limited when it comes to decision making. With neuromorphic computers, the idea is that we are able to reproduce the way the brain works. So single neurons and synapses that will be able to take complex decisions because they're able to really operate separately and independently. So what does it mean? The obvious one is, okay, research in health and brain disease. But we can also think tomorrow, having humanoids, for instance, running some of the hard labors in the factories, can they be able to take more precise decisions and not just a code of, if this happens, then this is one of the answer, or if it's the other condition, then that's the other answer. So we're really looking into more intelligent, if I could say like that, models. And what I described also in terms of environment is true for pharma. So today, we are already using AI to design some drugs. Actually, last year was the first year that we had the last stage of clinical trials for a AI designed drug. The next step is in a lot of medicines that we're taking, there's not only one active principle. There are several molecules, actually. And those molecules, they have to address different symptoms. They have to interact properly together. And with those new generations of AI, we will be able to research how those active principles, how those drugs will be combined into a single prescription for patients, and addressing a variety of symptoms that we are treating with multiple drugs today. Finally, when it comes more to anticipation, again, I think one of the power of AI is to be able to combine several of the steps of the research and development of a product into one. And so typically when it comes to physical products and materials, you're testing the material for itself and its properties, then you're designing your product and stress testing it against the environment to make sure the performance is here. So we've been able now to modelize environments to be able to do in silico testing of those performances. So you're designing the material, already stress testing the capabilities, and then iterating from there so that when you're actually moving to manufacturing, you're winning time instead of doing several iteration circles. Moving to design now. In design, I think one of the most well-known application is, again, in healthcare, because they've been kind of the first industry to really tackle AI. And precision medicine, obviously, is one of them. So you are able to kind of modelize how some of those compounds can be precisely going and targeting specific zones of the body, so you don't have to use as much drug to be able to get the same benefits, but that you can also personalize the treatments that we are giving to people. But in the design, what's also interesting is the sustainability aspect. So when it comes to materials, yes, you can do more recyclable materials because the nature of the material is actually recyclable. But there's another aspect that's actually underlooked, which is designing for sustainability and recyclability. So by working with the structures and the potential structures using in silico modeling, we're able to design some performance of a material using less raw material, or to design for easiness of recyclability. One other thing in the design phase is, okay, you're able to produce those nice ingredients. You don't have to go through as many iterations in the lab as you were previously. Ultimately, you're not designing ingredients, right? You're designing food products. So we are able to move now from trying formulas by putting together ingredients that we think are interesting and then finding out what does it taste like, what are the health benefits that we're getting, to actually being able to input, this is what I want to get in terms of taste, in terms of health benefit, what should I put in my mix? So how should I design my formula so that it addresses directly the benefits I'm trying to get? And again, going into, I think, sustainability, we all know AI is a big thing. There was actually a panel this morning around, can we have a sustainable AI? I'm not going to answer that question today, but one of the things that's interesting with AI for AI is also, again, in the design. Can we design semiconductors and chips that can have the computation power that we need? But simulating this computation power and its need for energy, can we design the chips itself so that it's lower energy needed? So those are the kind of things that in design we believe could be quite transformational. The last thing I'm going to mention, again, moving from reacting to anticipation, is trying to be, for instance, in health, more in the reaction, the anticipation of the effects and the continuous monitoring of the treatments. So some of those new solutions are able to do that. Okay, at the beginning I'm designing the treatment, but actually we are never getting exactly the type of result we're expecting. Human beings are complex animals. And so with those new AI-powered treatments, we're able to continuously refine our hypothesis, refine the treatment, anticipate the results that we will be getting, and then transitioning the treatment from one to another, especially when it comes to oncology, for instance, where we're trying to get less invasive treatments for the body. So that's it for design. I think we're moving forward to manufacturing.
Okay, thanks, Alizée. So let's talk about first the supply chain. We all know in the past few years, the global supply chain has been under pressure as never before due to pandemics, geopolitics, conflicts, or economic crisis. And we want to all build a smarter and resilient supply chain. But I think with the traditional supply chain, or how do you say that, procurement logistic models, we achieve kind of limit with what we can do. And here goes what we think AI can bring to revolutionize the supply chain management. Is first about timing. Timing, of course, is always the most critical topic within supply chain. So we have seen some startups, they are doing, for example, self-driven trucks who can conduct route optimizations in real time, and who are applied today for the middle mile transportation route, which will absolutely reduce the time and also the cost for the fleet management. And what we can also see from some applications of startups is the last mile delivery drones. We have seen a lot of drones, autonomous drones today have been used for medical supplies, groceries, or some consumer goods. but it has been less used today within a manufacturing industrial world. But we have some startups, actually, they are doing very interesting stuff. For example, using autonomous drones to pick stuff from warehouse with scanning just the RFID code and then drop it at the assembly line because they received a signal who told them that we need these pieces for the moment. It's kind of spare parts or urgent tools replacement. So that will reduce the time for reaction and also the cost of manufacturing breakdown. And then another examples we have seen from startups is the AI-powered robotics arms. And of course, we have more advanced things now, like the humanoid robots, which can actually execute the same action, more or less the same action as the human can do today, like parcel handling operations such as sorting, transferring, or palletizing the product merchandise from a point to another point. That's of course, free more time for the engineers, for the operators on the floor to do more strategic tasks. And when we talk about the complexity, so I was a supply chain planner before when I was at school, so I know how many times I've spent to shifting from different inventory sheets, Excel, to another one, to compiling the numbers. And I think with AI and edge computing or more advanced computing, we can absolutely accelerate this and build also, and leveraging the advanced sensing technology together, it can help us to build a real-time virtual world of the complex supply chain network to better manage the inventory optimization at different levels. So from central hub to regional hub or to local distributors or even to retailers. Then another thing, I think, so from moving from reactive to proactive to anticipation, I think with AI advanced computing, we can do the same as we do for supply chain management to do the most agile and flexible demand forecasting possible by processing virus data from different sources. We can be more agile and predict the future supply disruptions. And then let's move to the manufacturing parts. So I think the traditional manufacturing has hit its ceiling at some point, because in a lot of, especially for, I think for advanced manufacturing industries like aerospace or automotive, we are equipped with robots and machines. We see already very few engineers on the ground, but we still need engineers in the factory because we need them to adjust the parameters when there is an accident or to adjust the machine when we need to change from one assembly line to another one. And where we think the AI can bring value is that first, in terms of quality control, I think it's absolutely something that we see the most coming in the near future. It's combine AI with some high resolution computer visions. They can be like the human eyes. They can execute by learning. They can adapt and learning by doing to do a more precise and accurate quality control over the time. And another thing we see in the production, I've seen a very interesting startup. They are actually doing combining AI with 3D printing, which means they can turn a 3D scan into a CAD model in few seconds, empowered by AI, of course. And then they use this CAD model to do 3D printing, additive manufacturing in a few hours. They can have a very complex parts and it can solve a lot of problems in advanced manufacturing industries, I think, because for the moment, for additional manufacturing, we need toolings, we need design, we need all these procurement supply chain process to order the raw material, different raw materials and turn it into finished goods. And now just with AI and 3D printing, we have the complex products in few hours. And another interesting one, I think we can, I think very, not interesting, but I think very useful one is that AI plus robotics can take over the repetitive, boring, dangerous, and or physical demanding tasks from human beings to reduce the workplace injuries. So we can see already some robotics like in oil refinery or foundry, high temperature environments. Under the foundry, we use advanced thermal sensors instead of human being, plus robotics. We can execute and monitor the situation instead of sending a human being to be there. So that's the thing, I think, what we can see from AI and in terms of time reducing. And in terms of mastering the complexity, we all know that the manufacturing world is a very complex we have very complex operations, especially when it comes to the advanced industry. For example, for semiconductor, we have seen some startups, they use kind of AI-empowered machine who can do the microelectronic soldering and desoldering, which was not takes more time and was not mastered by a robot before, but now with AI we can do it. And we also do the environmental monitoring, manufacturing environment monitoring, thanks to AI and the advanced sensing technologies. We can set up different IoT in the manufacturing assembly line or warehouses, and to monitor, to create a virtual world of these simulations, and can adjust our process accordingly and not just waiting by the end of the day when at the production floor we do our stand-up daily. And another thing we see from reaction to anticipation is that at some point AI with analytical AI, I think it can help us to detect some inconsistency during the manufacturing process, which means instead of waiting the step of quality control, we already know that we can get that data in real time, that we see there are some inconsistency between the different manufactured parts, and we know there's a problem and we need to fix it now instead of waiting the next step. So that will save us time and cost. Another one is again the same. I think safety monitoring is always biggest challenge at manufacturing sites. We need to make sure zero accidents, and with AI empowered some advanced sensors, we no need anymore to have human or engineers to be on the ground, but just use them to monitor the safety situations. And now the last part of the whole value chain is about the maintenance and continuous monitoring. So traditional maintenance, we have two ways. And we know that unplanned maintenance failures, how costly it could be for industrial companies. So the two ways is either we use scheduled maintenance, but it's costly and sometimes not necessary. We plan this monthly, but when send someone and we found out there's actually nothing happened. Or it's reactive maintenance, but it will cost, so the machine breaks down or the factory shut down, and it's also costly and also impact our customer deliveries. So I think the AI power today applied in maintenance and monitoring is that we can do a real predictive maintenance. I know this theme we have been talking about for years, but that this time I think it's really coming. I'm going to go through all this together because I think I want to make an order. So I want to start from the foundation. So how we can achieve this the real predictive maintenance. So first we need to get to know the health status of our machine, our infrastructures. So I've seen some startup, very interesting solution. They install some sensor nodes on the buildings or on the bridge, and can detect different indicators of the environments, like corrosion, like heating, stress conditions, and then we can be reactive and anticipate the future accidents. And we see also in another industry, like agriculture, we use AI and and also leverage the hyperspectral satellite imaging. We process and analyze those data to monitor crops' progress and contribute to the sustainable farming practice. And we can also see at another level, so it's more higher level, to use satellite data to visualize the industry assets, conditions, health monitoring, and damage information in real time. We have also another, now we have the data about the health, the condition of our machine and place, and now how we execute the maintenance. So we can use real autonomous drone again. We have some drones equipped with some blades, and they can do the defreezing on some transmission pipelines. It's already happened. And we also have some AI-driven adaptive manipulation robots for to autonomous perform a repair task, and can be really different various task pinpoints, and they can learn and adapt over the time. And I think that's all. It's a little bit fast, but
I think we wanted to leave you with a couple of words, because that's a bit overwhelming, right? It's not like we're moving from just automatizing resume screening for HR to doing all of that in a moment. So a couple of things that we're considering to not only realize the potential of AI, but starting to work on it. The first thing is, I think today, the general models, they're evolving really, really fast. And so in our opinion, at least for industrial, the point is not to try and build yours in-house, because in 6 months or 2 years, which is most likely the time it will take you to build it, it will be outdated. We really believe you should focus on where you're expert, which is your data, your use case, and try and tailor the utilization of those general models to your application, so that you can start learning and start developing those use cases in real time, rather than building the foundation forever, then in 2 years, starting to do the application and, again, being already outdated. The other component we really wanted to stress out is building and designing with ethics in mind from the beginning. We've seen first it's an important driver for consumer adoption, even internally. But also, it's most likely the part that will be heavily regulated, especially in the EU. So really having in mind this part as you're designing your models and your use case will be critical. So thank you guys for listening to us. And if you have any questions, we'll be at the Meet the Speaker lounge just outside.